Everyone, this is Carson Grubaugh.
Hey, Sean Robinson, we're Living the Line, and with us today is...
Hey, I'm Brandon Graham.
How you doing,
Thanks
Brandon?
for having me. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on again, guys.
This is totally a Friday. This is totally a different week.
Yeah.
I mean, my
Thanks
shirt
for
is nice,
having me
freshly
back.
cleaned.
5 minutes later.
And this is going to be the second Formalism Friday, and which means, yeah, we're going to be talking about a single selection from a comic that one of us has picked, and we are going to be discussing the formal elements that are at work. And today we've selected two tiers from the Osamu Tezuka comic Phoenix. This is from volume 1 of Phoenix, and this is a panel that Carson and I talked about when we were looking at volume 1 of Phoenix. And Carson, this one really jumped out at you in particular, huh?
Yeah, I love this so much. I had to come back to it like on its own in this context because I want to try to plan one out together. But I love this so much that he's taking advantage of the gap here to jump forward in time way too far. You know, he's like shot it, killed it, caught it, taken it back and cooked it. And that's happened in between the panels. And I picked up on that while I was reading. It was like at first like, wow, this rabbit, and he looked startled like, holy shit, the rabbit got cooked. And then him acknowledging what he's done here too is funny to me. So this whole sequence I just thought was a really clever use of that idea of closure between panels and potentially jumping too far ahead. So I just wanted to see if we could, like the three of us screwing around together, could use a similar trick and just come up with something.
Sure. Something really interesting about that is he could have done the same trick and it would have worked. I mean, it gets our test thing showed up for a second. The shame of YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube allows you 3 frames of pornography.
We had to test the tool, and what else are you going to do but draw a penis on the bathroom wall?
Test the tool with the tool.
But I was going to say is the interesting thing about the Tezuka thing is he could have done the same technique and not pointed out at all, and it would have kind of gone seamlessly. If he just had a close-up of then the rabbit over a fire and him sitting there eating, it would have been a thing. But it's almost him being like, this is a weird thing that comics does.
Yeah, and I think that's necessary, like early on, right? Because he's kind of creating those forms. Go ahead, Sean.
Oh yeah, I was curious, Brandon, if how that strikes you when Tezuka does that, because we had a little discussion about that, whether he's a show off, I guess, a showboat. You know, my sort of like when I first read his stuff, I got this sort of like, you know, why is he breaking up the narrative? Like, let me get to the story. And then, you know, with some distance, the distance of like 20 years or however long I've been reading the stuff, to me, it's like, well, he's like such a great entertainer. He's like one of the greatest entertainers in the world. Why not just let him be the thing that he wants to be, you know? But I can see somebody that might think it's like a kind of candy floss, you know.
Yeah, I think it's a mix because yeah, he's totally showboating, but it also makes it more fun. Because there's a thing in Astro Boy he did once where it's a character is telling an old story, an old flashback, and Tezuka had all these little stand-in things that he would do. Like he had a little pig character he would just draw all the time. And a guy is saying like in a dark and stormy night when this thing first happened, and the pig character is just in the panel, and the guy's like, "What are you doing? This is a flashback. I'm trying to be serious," and he kicks him out of it. And he's like, "Anywhere, where was I?" And it's just adds this extra thing that he's like, you know, like something that's a real struggle for me in comics sometimes is reminding myself to have fun because you get caught up in these stories and everything. And for me, sometimes I don't want to. I'll be like, "This is a serious scene. I don't want to do it." But it definitely shows like how in love with it he is and how he's just having a blast and there's no limits. He can get away with anything he wants. So that's really admirable, I think.
Yeah, I don't think he's showing off. I think he's keeping himself entertained. Like, dude's pumping out 20 pages in a day. Like, you got to let yourself have fun with it. That's why I was comparing it to like freestyle rapping, when someone stumbles into the really good line and then they're like so pleased by it, you know, they almost have to like
point it out. Yeah,
Eminem does that all the time. I mean, his is really well crafted, but it has that same like spur of the moment, like it occurred to him and then he was like, well, what do I put in the next panel? Well, like, that was that too much? You
Well,
there doesn't
sometimes
seem
it's funny.
editing.
His stuff's so funny because he'll for somebody who's so talented at wordplay, he'll do something really dumb and then point out some of the dumb things. Like the one that comes to mind immediately is he says like he's talking about there's doing kind of a Joker thing, and he says like told Bruce Wayne to settle you down. I'm ready for calm Batman, and it's like a combat man, and then he says get it, calm Batman.
That's exactly that's exactly
it's
the
not
one I
good.
referenced.
But it's like okay, because it would almost be too subtle and too bad if he didn't. And I wonder if there's a section of maybe comics readers and rap listeners that thing, because it's so pointed out, or just like, see, he's bad. See, Tezuka's bad. He points out how bad he is. Maybe Tezuka's harder to, but I always think back about how like Kirby in the 70s had the nickname Jack the Hack. Like, you know, people did not respect a lot of what he was doing, and now everyone's just like, you know, he blew his nose on this napkin. Let's put it in a museum. You know, and rightly so. But it's always interesting how things are looked at the time.
Yeah, I don't know that Tezuka has really gotten fair shakes in the United States, despite, you know, some accolades. It seems like he's sort of like old-fashioned, or, you know, I don't know, passé somehow.
Oh, while we're on the subject, I'll take a 2-second here.
Yeah.
And be right back.
All right, Sean, let's that's so funny that he went to that exact same Eminem line that I referenced.
We did not plan this.
No.
Literally didn't plan this.
Sorry to break that up, but
No,
I have a
no.
Tezuka original, which seemed like an appropriate time to bring it up.
Oh, yes. Oh my goodness.
Whoa.
Wow.
Holy moly.
Where'd you get that?
I got this from, so there's an animator in Canada who did a short animation called Bambi versus Godzilla, Marv Newland. And he went to Japan and got to meet Tezuka in the 80s. And he talked about walking down the street with him and cars just honking like he was a big celebrity. And he was cleaning at his studio and had me and a couple friends over. And I found this going through his studio, and he's like, I'm just getting rid of books. And I was like, this isn't real. And he was like, oh, that's real. I got a couple of those. Go ahead and take that one.
Wow.
I was like, that's it. But the funny thing about this thing is it's probably the rarest. Like, I have a friend whose wife is Japanese, and she's told him like he shouldn't own that. A Japanese person should own that.
Right.
But it's always funny. I was showing this to like kind of back to what we were saying about kind of not respecting things. I was some friends of work over, and they're huge anime fans, and they're kind of just like really into like Naruto and One Piece and the new stuff. And I casually was just like, oh, I have a Tezuka thing, and they could not care less, because it's not like, I don't think they understood the weight of this. Like, you know, like I would be, you know, I don't think it's be presumptuous to be like, this is probably the only Tezuka original in Las Vegas, Nevada. You know?
Right.
Yeah, preserve it well.
Despite the 80,000 pages or whatever he drew, they have not geographically traveled very far, it seems.
Yeah, that's another weird thing, is how hard it is to see manga originals. I mean, especially in the States.
Yeah, it's sad. So do we want to take a crack at planning one of these?
Oh, sure.
Well, let's see what happens.
Now that we've erased the
give me that clean whiteboard here this time.
Yeah, clean whiteboard.
So the trick itself is reliant on the eye wanting to fill in the idea that the moment has just passed instead of a longer period of time, right?
Yeah, and there's like it looks like a like moment to moment transition, as Scott McCloud would call it, right, where the character's like doing this, but you're jumping a span of time.
Is it necessary to point out that you're doing it the way that Tezuka did? Because I feel like it's very easy to kind of moment to moment.
No, I don't think so.
What if we did
the trick to me is the jump between him walking to get the rabbit that he shot and him picking it up and it being cooked already.
What were you saying, Sean?
Oh, what if we did something like a death scene, or, you know, it doesn't have to be a person dying, but something that where the time transition can be compressed in a way that's visually like gratifying.
Oh,
like
yeah.
You know, like somebody falls on a spike and then, you know, they're a skeleton the next I mean, you know, I don't know.
I mean, I was thinking like, I'll do a very simple one. Maybe we want to plan out something more, but
let's see it.
Let's see, I'll do it. My simple idea was just, and I'm drawing with a mouse here, so forgive me. But you just
we were all drawing with mice. Just please.
With mice. Mine's a live mouse.
I have a fancy
Brandon
pen.
can't fucking draw at all.
Here's a guy who's just like,
he's gonna outdraw us with his mouse.
I'll give him an ear, like he's Tintin.
So good.
So here's a guy who's just like, maybe he's waving at people. That's a hand. That was the hand that I announced the worst thing I've ever drawn. And he's just like walking out the door, and he's just like, this might be a little bit of non sequitur, and he's just saying, going to the circus. This is the word circus. And then panel 2 is just
finding this rather hypnotic. I only get like, one line per second. It's very appealing.
there.
Oh, okay.
That might be a little.
That's
Wait, what?
It
So
killed him.
what?
I don't know if that's a great comic. But.
He went to the circus.
Can we give him
That's
like a visual, like a coherent like background or something that like tricks us to thinking that?
Oh, here's his hair that's sticking out of.
I like the Tintin hair. Like it's so much just very Tintin.
Popeye tattoo.
I was trying to pre-plan a little bit for this one because I knew. Yeah.
The hair does it. You're totally right. That's exactly what I was looking for.
Oh, even better.
Can you make that a hologram on there, dude? Like give it a little light show. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I don't know why I thought like because Tezuka was doing like an eating thing. I was imagining someone, and I'm gonna do way worse here. We'll use the same guy.
This poor man.
We need a model sheet. I don't know, Carson. You're straying a little far here.
He's beatnik Tintin.
This is why I use
this is the second
photo
saleable
reference.
property you've improvised today, Brandon. Beatnik Tintin and Will Eisner. I've forgotten the other one.
Oh, we were talking about the Will Eisner is the Jughead the Impaler.
Did we do someone do that up here while I'm trying to?
Oh, sure. I can do a little. I don't even know. Does Jughead must have hair. I'm gonna do the worst because he has a weird nose.
I feel like what I'm doing though is more common. Crap. I was gonna do like a guy like stabbing the fork and then you're moving in on the meat and then you pull out and he's like switch to eating a person, but that's like a standard like Watchmen transition, isn't it?
No, that's good. So he's stabbing the meat and then you've got basically like an invisible cross cut to another object that is we're asked to be. I mean,
yeah,
him
it's not quite,
eating flesh or like his dog chewing through a bird or something.
Yeah, but it's not quite the
here.
same.
I'm gonna add a dog. Oh, I can't do it. Sorry if you don't. Sorry if you don't want me to do this, Carson.
No,
I feel
do it.
I also am drawn with the mouse.
This is Archie impaled. I don't know. What's the relationship between Jughead and Wimpy from Popeye?
Well, they're the same person.
That's what I was wondering. Are they the same person, or is it like a previous? I'm running out of. It's not letting me make lines anymore.
Oh, weird. Yeah, me too. My dog can't.
Oh, there it goes.
We're just getting a lag.
And so now the dog is. Wait. Oh, you're adding the person. Okay. Well,
I don't know. I was because the thing I like about his is like there's the guy here and the guy's like completing the action. Oh, the close.
I guess the question is almost thinking of what is a standard thing that we know the outcome for, because that's kind of what Tezuka does, is he knows if you're going to shoot a rabbit that you're going to be eventually eating it. So it might be a thing of like,
but also that you're going to go pick it up with the arrow in it. That the picking up, like you're going to pick it up with the arrow in it, and that's what you expect that panel to be. Is I shot it and I picked it up, but then you'd also take it back and cook it over the arrow. So that action has to kind of double function.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So is just the visual setup of it what makes this different from the Massimo Shiro trick that Brandon pointed out in the first volume of Appleseed with the ice creams?
Yeah,
Is it
I
basically
think
just the
so.
visual continuity that makes this different?
We're gonna have to go back to the. It's interesting. It should be easy, but it's really hard. It's the fact that this looks like this happens within seconds after this
Right.
that fascinated me so much. That's why my fork example didn't actually work, because you zoom in on the fork and then zoom back out.
Okay.
Right.
It's the fact that these look like they're this in the same place a couple moments apart. But notice he does change the grass. But it's that this is the expected action after this, but then the expected action
Okay. Well,
is something else.
right. Will you go back to the whiteboard one more time? Is it possible to reset that?
Yeah.
So then if we
Should we save these? We'll save all these. Yeah. There we go.
Rest in peace, Beatnik 1010.
You'll be able to download this after the fact. We'll put a
Yeah.
link in the show notes.
We'll put these on the Patreon, just the single images. There we go.
This is the only thing we're paywalling.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
Brandon's drawings of Jughead. All right. So what? Okay. So once
And the
again,
porno drawing.
we've got Jughead. Once again, I'm actually drawing with the mouse, and I'm drawing with my right hand now, even though I'm left-handed.
Damn, Sean.
Because I
Dangerous.
use a mouse with my right hand, so that seems to make a difference. Okay, so like Jughead the Impaler is going in for the approach, right?
Mhm.
And he's extending his hand out to Archie here.
I don't know if I can draw Archie out of my head.
Oh,
I know he has the like.
He's
has
got he's got the Ditko comb, right?
Try in the. Let's see here.
and then as they go for the handshake, oh no, I've totally lost the thread of what I was gonna. You know, he goes in for the handshake, and then
Doesn't he have a bow tie?
Yeah, Archie's pretty unlovable.
Oh yeah, he has that stupid crosshatch in his hair, huh? The hashtag.
Yeah.
oh, see, I can't even make this work. I guess my thought was that, you know, he would be pulling off Archie's arm and using it to, you know, like slay one of his other enemies in this next page here, and the Archie's body would be entirely gone. It would just be like the severed arm of Archie that he's using to beat
But it
someone
has
else
like
with.
this it has built into it like the expectation of you, like it pretty much looks like what you expect to happen, but it takes a second to realize that it's not. Like it's, you expect him to pick up the rabbit, but you don't expect him to pick it up cooked. And so that unexpected time jump, and that's where it's like, man, that is way harder. It seems so simple when he does it, but it's proving to be really hard to think that up.
Yeah, I mean, my initial thought is just to what's a standard thing that where we think of the A, B, and C of it, just like I'm gonna get in my car and drive to the store and get the groceries or whatever, and then you just like, you know, it might even be the equivalent of somebody like going to the store for groceries, and they open up the you know, I'll use this say this is the same panel of Beatnik of Beatnik 1010, and he says like, going to the store for groceries. This is what this panel says, and then he opens the door, or maybe he's opening the door here, and just like a grocer just hands him a bag of his groceries, and he's kind of shocked, and then he's just like, you know,
right,
that was fast, or you know, something like that.
Or maybe he steps through. He could even step through the door to the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That could, yeah. But I do think you need. I don't. My first thought is you only need 2 panels to do it because it's a 2-panel trick. But you really have to set up the context of like, well, he's hunting a rabbit and then he shoots it, and Yeah, I don't know. It might need like 4 panels, like a couple panels to set the context to prime your, because there's a primed expectation going into it too.
Mhm.
This could be misread as like the grocer just has like is smart and has door dashed and beat you to it. It's
Yeah.
just outside your door. I don't
Yeah, I
know.
like that.
It's
I like
that's
the idea of
trickier than I thought.
passing through a door to another place that is after the journey. I think that gives it the neatness of the physical, like doorway, gateway aspect.
Right, kind of
But-
a Howl's Moving Castle door,
Right,
but
Yeah,
but not with
portal
magic.
door.
right. But the magic of comics.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right,
that's
so
the cool thing.
I'm gonna say Tezuka beat us on this one. It's harder to do this because I don't.
You think
Otherwise, we'll
his
spend all
layouts
day
look like
doing
this?
Yeah.
Can he draw Archie out of his head?
Yeah. I'm sure he could
With a mouse.
given all the other. Okay. Well, let's
Yeah, let's table
call
this
it on
one.
that one.
I-
And
I'm gonna steal this one. I'm working on laying out a book right now, and I think I'm gonna steal this particular thing, and I'll share with the class when I've got the layouts done.
when we get back to it. Awesome. All right. Thanks for watching us completely fail to rip off Tezuka.